Hello and welcome back to another custom Hearthstone set review. Today we're going to be looking at Mage from the Mysteries of Pandaria set. Mage has dropped a line and they're kicking back, as Mage is going to spend the entirety of their trip fishing. But before we begin, please keep in mind that this set's keyword is Channel. Channel is an end-of-turn effect that does something as long as you have the required unspent mana. And so far they've been powerful effects with reasonably low costs that are repeatable each turn. And in this set, Mage is going to be working with the keyword tradable, as they cast their line and reel in a new fish turn after turn. But without further ado, let's get started with the review. And who better to learn from than Nat Pagle himself. Nat Pagle Fishing Instructor is a 3-mana 1/4 legendary minion with Battlecry, equip a 1/4 fishing rod. Pagle's Fishing Rod is a 3-mana 1/4 weapon with, at the end of your turn, you have a 50% chance to draw an extra card. This feels like a pretty happy balance between Nat Pagle and Dark Pagle. This feels like a less consistent and cheaper version of Aluneth. It also encourages your opponent to run weapon removal, something that you'll probably run in this deck yourself. And what reason would you have for a Master Fishing Instructor other than to learn from him? Up next we have Learn from the Best. Learn from the Best is a new version of a quest, and it's coming in the form of a request, or a daily quest. Learn from the Best is a 1-mana legendary spell with request. Play or trade 3 minions in 1 turn. Reward, draw a card, and request. And what request means is to play this card again at the end of your turn. So this essentially turns into draw free cards as you continue to do what this deck wants you to do. And you might be asking yourself, what is it that this deck wants you to do, Ampersand? You've been alluding towards it this entire time. Well, have I got the answer for you. That's going to bring us to our next 7 cards, 3 of which will be Mage specific and the other 4 will be coming from the neutral set. And what exactly is it that we're going to be fishing up, you might ask? Well, fish, of course. In this expansion, the fish of Pandaria are coming to Mage. And without further ado, here are the fish. Emperor Salmon is a 1-mana 1/1 beast with tradable and battle cry. It deals 1 damage, upgraded for each time you've traded since your last battle cry. And what that means is that each time you trade any of the fish or any tradable minion away, each of your battlecry fish will have an additional +1/+1 in stats, as well as an increment in their battlecry. So you trade anything away, this is going to read as a 1-mana 2/2 battlecry, deal 2 damage. You trade another fish away, and now this reads as a 1-mana 3/3, deal 3. And now you need to deal with somebody's minion hiding behind taunt. Well, now you have a 1-mana deal 3. Or maybe this fish isn't going to solve your problem right now, so you trade it away in hopes that you draw the Jade Lungfish. The Jade Lungfish is a 2-mana 2/2 tradable beast with Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, upgraded for each time you've traded since your last Battlecry. So continuing our Emperor Salmon scenario, you've traded twice now. This now reads as 2 mana, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions, and it's a 5/5 body. But let's say that you're doing pretty well on the board and there's nothing you need to react to now. Go ahead and cash in your stats and get free trades using the Crasserang Paddlefish. The Crasserang Paddlefish is a 2-mana 2/2 beast with tradable and battlecry. Your next 2 trades cost 0, upgrades for each time you've traded since your last battlecry. So maybe your opponent hasn't done anything and you don't have enough trades done yet to do damage to your face or opponent's face, but you've traded 4 times now. You could play this, cash in your 4 trades, and still have a 6/6 2-mana body. The whole point of this package is to play the long game and go for the big fish. But you're asking yourself, 3 fish isn't enough to build an archetype, Ampersand. What else is there? Coming in alongside these 3 beautiful fish, we also have the Golden Carp. The Golden Carp is a 2-mana 2/2 tradable beast with Battlecry. Get 1 coin, upgraded for each time you've traded since your last Battlecry. So now those trades haven't necessarily paid off. Now they literally pay off. Not to mention that this golden carp is going to maintain the same amount of stats that you would have gotten in coins. So plus 5 coins equals 7/7 for 2. So maybe those coins go back into paying for future trades or going into a big combo turn. But maybe you don't need coins. Maybe you need cards and you've got a Tiger Gourami. Tiger Gourami is a 3-mana 3/3 beast with tradable and battle cry. Draw 1 card, upgraded for each time you've traded since your last battle cry, giving your deck future consistency and drawing you more fish to trade away for more. And this guy also benefits from the tradable mechanic, so he would increase his stats and become bigger and draw more cards. And note that this guy is also neutral, so if you are trading in other classes, he can work with them as well. And everybody knows that fish swim together, so our next fish is the Dall-e. The Dall-e is a 2-mana 2/2 beast with tradable and battle cry. Give another minion +1/+1, upgraded for each time you've traded since your last battle cry. Not only does the Dall-e come into play with all the buffs from being traded, but he's also going to give that same buff to another friend. Bruce the Shark was correct when he said fish are friends, not food. But don't let Nat hear you say that. But for the Dall-e, it's going to double up on all the trades you've made up until you've played it. And to help make it easier to play along the way, there's also the Red Belly Mandarin. The Red Belly Mandarin is a 6-mana 6/6 tradable beast with cost 1 less for each time you've traded since your last battle cry. Note how he doesn't have a battle cry himself, but he's still tradable to help you continue the train. You could consider running this along other tradable options such as Rust-Rot Viper or Fire Sail. But all in all, I feel that the Red Belly Mandarin puts a nice final bow on the fishing package. And with that all in order, let's get back to the Mage cards. Starting with a new Mage secret. Go Fish. Go Fish is a 3-mana nature spell with secret. When your opponent plays a minion, instead shuffle it into their deck and give them a 1/1 guppy. So, while it is effectively an objection, it is not going to delete the minion, but instead delay it and put it back in the deck. This does prevent the battle cry, so you don't have to worry about it being a miss like Kidnap was for Rogue. It also has a nature tag on it, which could have implications for Sif Spell Mage. But overall, I think this is a rather tricky secret for a mage to pick up. And up next we have Mud Manipulator. Mud Manipulator is a 3-mana 2/5 elemental with your trades cost 0. So now you can trade for free. This pairs pretty nicely with the fishing mechanics introduced as well in this set, but it also provides synergies for other tradable cards, as well as having a fairly thick statted backside. The elemental tag does help it in some elemental decks, but overall I'm not sure this has much of a place outside of maybe a fishing deck. That brings us to our next card for Mage. That card's going to be Elemental Infusion. Elemental Infusion is a 3-mana secret with after your opponent casts a secret, summon an elemental with the same cost. And while the other one interrupted your opponent's play, this one generates stats. Stats in 2023's meta? I'm not so sure. But up next we have the Azure Cloud Serpent. Azure Cloud Serpent is a 5-mana 4/4 dragon with can't be targeted by spells and Death Rattle summon a 1/2 Azure Serpent hatchling. The Azure Serpent hatchling is a 1-mana 1/2 dragon with can't be targeted by spells. At the end of your opponent's turn, transform this into an Azure Cloud Serpent. So it's a interesting enough minion. It's understated, but it's elusive, so there's some upside to it. But overall, I feel like this one might be a miss for the dragons. But that's going to lead us into our next card, Nice Int. Nice Int is a 5-mana 3/3 minion with, if this survives taking damage, transform into an Angry Ant. Angry Ant is a 5 mana 8/8 elemental with Rush and Taunt. So this gives the mage an option to play the minion early for tempo, or they can hold it back for a combo play with their own ping on 7. Not to mention this does provide some stickiness for the elemental archetype, something that it does feel a little lacking in. But all in all, I do think that this is a interesting option for Mage in general. Maybe not a good option, but interesting. I do feel like this could be the correct answer in some situations. But that's going to bring us around to our last card. Next up, we have the Red Blossom Leak. The Red Blossom Leak is a 1 mana 1 durability location with give your next spell damage +1 upgrades each turn. Right off the rip, this feels like you're growing your own nuke in your backyard. I could see this maybe working if it started out at 4 or 5 mana, but at 1 mana that's just a little bit too powerful in my opinion. But then again, it is kind of similar to the Juicy Crunch carrot that Demon Hunter got. So is it too powerful? Once you've played it, you pretty much broadcasted that that's your win condition and you've set a timer for your opponent. Overall, I feel like this could be a spicy addition to the metagame. And that's going to wrap it up for Mage's Mysteries of Pandaria set review. Please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. What cards were too strong, which ones weren't good enough. Let me know what you think might be happening in Paladin. I'd really appreciate it if you've made it this far, giving me a like or a subscribe, or just wave at your monitor. That'd be cool too. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go check out something else from me. I've got Druid and I've got Hunter and Demon Hunter and all the previous classes, and I'll be making more, so I hope to see you soon.